Welcome. For those of you who have not seen me yet, I will introduce myself. My name is Alkeline van Lenning, and I am the Dean of the University College. On this wonderful day, we are gathered together to celebrate the academic success of our graduates. Today is a top day, not only for the graduates and their family members and their friends, but also for the staff and the teachers of LAS. The diplomas are a reward for years of hard work together. Our staff and teachers are very dedicated. They go the extra mile. But also the students had to work very hard, and they did their utmost. And today we celebrate the results. Any minute now, our graduates will enter this hall. As soon as the doors open, I invite you to welcome them and join us staff in a very warm applause for them.
Hush now, child, and don't cry. Your folks might understand you by and by. Just move on up toward your destination. Though you may find from time to time complication. And take the trip. Though there may be wet road ahead and you cannot slip, just move on up. For peace you'll find into the steeple of beautiful people where there's only one kind. So hush now, child, and don't cry. Might understand you by and by. Move on up and keep on wishing. Remember your dream is your only scheme, so keep on pushing. Take nothing less than the supreme best. Do not obey rumors people say, but you can pass the test. Just move on up to a greater day. With just a little faith, if you put your mind to it, you can surely do it.
All the degrees have been confirmed. The Tassel tradition, this is a visual indication of a landmark in your life, and the fact that you can now claim the academic degree you all earned. I am going to count to 3, and you will move your tassels from the right side on your cap to the left front side of your cap. Can we do that? Okay. 1, 2, 3. And now it is my distinct pleasure to give the floor to Dr. Tessa Leesen, our Vice Dean, who will hand out some awards.
Thank you, Alkaline. I have the honor to present the award ceremony today and hand out 2 awards, the Willem Witteveen Thesis Award and the highest GPA award. Someone is very excited, I'm happy. The Thesis Award is named after the late founding father of our university college, Professor Willem Witteveen. He embodied the ideals of a liberal arts and sciences education. He was socially engaged, participated actively in politics, and displayed his enormous curiosity and interest in a wide variety of topics, such as law, literature, rhetoric, and arts. But more than that, he was a generous, a kind, and a caring colleague who saw potential and talent in each and every student. His vision that education is about growth and developing yourself in different areas and not just about grades is ingrained in our university college. The tremendous steps that the students have taken during their studies are evidenced most clearly in the bachelor thesis, as we have also heard in the speeches before. Writing a bachelor thesis is a challenging and laborious process. It is a road full of obstacles, and all of our graduates have worked through that process, worked through the literature and the writing, and have worked the hours. The bachelor thesis constitutes the culmination of the academic study, and each and every one of you has managed to successfully complete that piece of scholarly work. Now, the Willem Witteveen Thesis Award aims to recognize those graduates who managed to do so and write the thesis in an outstanding manner. Now, what is an outstanding bachelor thesis? That thesis addresses a topic that is scientifically relevant, that displays an excellent research methodology, discussion of literature, demonstrates originality, intellectual creativity, and clarity of style and presentation. In deciding who wrote that outstanding bachelor thesis, the pivotal criterion for us has been the grade, because the grade is based on all of those criteria. Now, this procedure implies that we have no less than 6 award-winning students this year who obtained an equally high grade for their bachelor thesis. Now, the common denominator in all of these theses is a profound care for a fair and a just society, and I was very happy to read that and see that when going through the thesis. The first awardee focuses on the legal right of EU citizens to be forgotten in an age of digital exposure. The awardee takes a normative approach in her bachelor thesis and argues that the right to have your personal data removed from internet searches should not only apply within the European territory, but also beyond. She was particularly applauded for her sound theoretical framework, her meticulous case law analyses, and impeccable planning. Congratulations. I'm looking for her, Sterre van den Berg. There she is. Please come on stage. The second awardee has examined the peace agreement between the Colombian government and the FARC, which was concluded in 2016. The peace agreement aimed to restore justice in Colombia after the lethal conflict that had torn Colombia apart for almost 50 years. The thesis specifically focuses on the liability of military commanders for the war crimes committed by their subordinates, and how the prerequisites for that liability in the peace agreement controversially deviate from international criminal law. Congratulations, Daphne van Ettel. The next awardee examined the relatively new and exciting medium of narrative fiction podcasts and the possibilities it offers for the representation of the LGBTQ+ identities. The thesis was applauded for its originality and great variety of literature use, covering a broad range of fields such as queer studies and the semiotic analysis of podcasting. Congratulations, Anna Magnus. The next award-winning thesis poses the question whether it is justifiable for caregivers and family members to lie to persons who have dementia. And if so, how their dishonesty affects the patient's autonomy and the relationship of trust they have with each other. The awardee managed to discuss the complexity of the moral challenges dementia care can bring about, and she did so in a nuanced and academic manner. Congratulations, Annabel Oldvoort. The next awardee examined the effects of foreign language on economic decision-making, and more specifically on the degree of loss aversion in risky and riskless economic choices, and used an online survey to do so. The awardee was specifically applauded for her outstanding literature review and excellent use of statistical methods. Congratulations, Machtel Stoll. The final awardee does not only receive the Willem Witteveen Thesis Award, but also the award for the highest grade point average. In her thesis, she critically examined the use of performance-based compensations for CEOs, such as annual bonuses and stock options, and how these compensations might tempt some company leaders to display unethical behavior. So I've learned that some CEOs do not refrain from polishing the company's financial results for their own benefits. The awardee was especially applauded for the data collection and analyses that, according to her supervisor, went far beyond what can be expected from a bachelor thesis. The final Willem Witteveen Thesis Award and the highest GPA award of 2022 go to a student who I've come to know quite well. She's a dedicated, intelligent, and promising young woman. Congratulations, Astrid Admiraal. Now I would like to give the floor to the valedictorians for their speech. They have been invited by their peers to give the valedictory speech. Loïc Segers and Vicente Noero Spiker.
Well, good afternoon, fellow graduates, and welcome family and friends, staff and distinguished guests. First and foremost, let us congratulate our peers again for this remarkable achievement, as 3 years of hard work, or more obviously, in unprecedented circumstances have finally come to an end. This celebration is not only because of us graduates, it is also because of our committed staff that has supported us along the way. So let's take a moment together and please give a very big round of applause to our wonderful staff.
For the two of us, it is an honor to stand here. We're immensely grateful for the opportunity to represent and address our fellow classmates, an opportunity that was granted by them. So thank you. My name is Vicente Noero. I come from Cartagena in Colombia, and I completed my major in business and economics. Over the last 3 years, I have had the pleasure to represent our program at the Bachelor Open Day on 2 different occasions, as well as participate in the program committee over this past year.
And my name is Loïc Segers, and I come all the way from Limburg. It's another province of this country. I've completed this degree at University College Tilburg on the Arts and Humanities track. And during my time here, I've also spent a semester abroad at Université Paris-Dauphine. And as well as Vicente, I have been a member of the Alias Program Committee. I should also mention that mostly during lockdown times, I have served as your president of our extraordinary study association, Extramurals. Exactly. Okay, as original as we would like the speech to be, we cannot ignore the pandemic and all the far-reaching consequences that us graduates in particular had to deal with. All lockdowns gathered together, the graduating students in this room today went through at least a whole year of studying behind their computers. We are the generation of students whose studies have been affected by COVID the longest.
But we cannot speak about challenges without mentioning international students in particular. Some started their academic path by camping in a tent, as you might remember the camping part at Sport Park. Some had to endure a lockdown all by themselves, thousands of miles away from their families, which at least for me led to a lot of lonely moments. Because of these unprecedented conditions, we are beyond proud to graduate from the University College in Tilburg. In our experience, this program is unique, it is eye-opening, and it is extremely intellectually inspiring. The interdisciplinary nature of LAS does not only extend to science and to academia, but it has taught us a lot about diversity in every societal context. Understanding, mimicking, and applying these versatile perspectives has had a lasting personal impact on both of us.
Most importantly, the program and its community have taught us to understand why different people with different backgrounds and experiences have different perspectives and opinions. Even our opportunities are highly unequal and determined by factors we did not choose for ourselves. Our understanding of the meaning and effect of privilege in society differs from person to person. And even though both of us, Vicente and I, brought up this topic as being central to our education, Vicente and I have vastly different experiences when it comes to privilege. And in light of this, we would like to share just some of those in a true Alias team teaching style with you today.
So to start off our team taught lecture, I grew up in the capital city of Colombia. This is arguably one of the most unequal places on earth. My day today would include common encounters with people begging for money at red lights, people from the rural areas of Colombia that had been displaced by conflict holding up a poster asking for money to feed their newborn child. All of this, in my experience, while I was sitting in the back of my mom's car driving to one of the best private schools in the country. So, because of these circumstances, my understanding of privilege has always been related to very, very basic things. My family has always fomented gratefulness for these things. Things such as drinkable water, things such as food on my plate, things such as a roof over my head.
My understanding of privilege is different, or at least has a different focus due to the corner of the world I was born and raised in. I immediately think about factors such as gender, skin color, nationality, sexuality, religion, that determine the privileges society gives you. In all of these categories, labels and identities, society puts me on the pedestal, which is good for me, I guess, but it also leaves me with questions. What is my responsibility? I've also caught myself in feelings of awkwardness sometimes. This summer I had an absolutely amazing time in a majority non-white country, but I found myself constantly receiving the most attention and the best service in restaurants, and the difference with locals was undeniable. How do I say that I want to be treated like everyone else, equally, in a society that frames me higher because of my race and gender? Even the speech, which is given by two privileged men, is reason to raise questions about why we got the opportunity to speak.
Now, when we were writing this speech, of course, as soon as we decided on a topic of privilege, we had a very, very millennial response, and we Googled it. And we found a YouTube video. In this YouTube video, a teacher tries to explain to his students the concept of privilege, all via an exercise. The exercise starts by the teacher asking its students to crumple up a piece of paper, and then the teacher proceeds to place a bin at the front of the classroom. Then he asks their students to remain seated and to toss the paper into the bin. Immediately after the explanation, the students at the back row of the classroom started complaining, while the students at the front row kept quiet.
After most of the students in the front rows were successful, the teacher explained their unawareness of privilege. Instead of being silent, front row students should have been openly grateful for their better odds, and should have also spoken up about the unfairness of that the back rows were facing.
And I think this is the biggest problem with privilege. And it's that those who are privileged turn a blind eye to the conditions that allow for that same privilege. Two of those conditions who are pure randomness and luck. And because luck is always involved, one should be grateful to have drinkable water, to have food, to have an internet connection, and to have a roof over your head.
And because luck is always involved, one should not be ashamed, but rather humble and grateful to find yourself reaping the benefits of your societal pedestal. Why are we here today? All of us have just signed our diplomas at a scientific university. All of us have just received a stamp of approval that opens the highest doors to our age group. All of us have just been seated in the front row of the classroom.
And make no mistake, we should celebrate this achievement after 3 tough years with all the pride and all the gratitude in the world.
But we should also take a moment to appreciate this huge privilege we call education and embrace it with humble commitment.
We can most definitely utilize this privilege to achieve great things for ourselves, but we must do so while standing up for those in the back rows of the classroom.
Thank you very much. All the best in the future.
Mama?
First of all, the public, you have all been listening so patiently to all speeches. I want to thank you for that. You are the bubbles in our champagne. You are the fireworks on New Year's Eve. Because what would a ceremony be without a public? And although I know you probably cannot help but hope it will be over now, I cannot let our graduates go without a small farewell message. And I will be short, I promise. When you came here to study, many of you were unsure about your choices. Which study, very often ending up liberal arts, then you could postpone your choices. And then which major, very often hesitated between 2. And then which topic for your thesis. And also, what master? It always seems to me that you students would go to great lengths to avoid regrets. And that's no wonder. From every corner of our culture, the message booms. Forget the past, seize the future. A good life seems to have a singular focus, forward, and always be positive. This summer, I had finally time to read some books. And one of them was Assembly by Natalie Brown. It very much impressed me, and I can recommend it especially to our graduates. It's a book about Britain's colonial legacy and what it's like trying to exist in that as a black British woman. The unnamed character is such a woman. She appears to get everything she is striven for. A big promotion at her finance firm and further initiation into her boyfriend's world of white old money privilege. But she says in the book, and I quote, "Dread. Every day is an opportunity to fuck up. Every decision, every meeting, every report. There is no success, only the temporarily avoidance of failure. Dread. From the buzz and jingle of my alarm until I finally get back to sleep. Dread." Natasha Brown, the author, is young, just as you are. And she writes about this young woman who is trying to succeed in building a career. I recognize in her words the fear and stress that I so often see in students. Another book that I read this summer is O William by Elizabeth Strout. Elizabeth Strout is a white American writer who is exactly my age. What was that? The main character in the book is Lucy. Lucy is also in her 60s, if you were wondering. Lucy is talking with a 70-year-old woman who is called Lois. And I quote Lois. Lois said, "There are very few regrets in my life. And that's remarkable, because I look at the lives of the people around me, and they are filled with regrets, or at least they ought to be. But really, I feel that I lived a very good life." End of quote. How different this is from the dread that threatens to overwhelm the life of the main character in Brown's book. Lois' words reminded me of another book I read this summer, The Power of Regret by Daniel Pink. Pink's point is that regrets has benefits. For example, it can improve your further decisions. But regret only works if you do not repeat your failure over and over again and end up wallowing in self-pity. If you can avoid that, regret is a valuable emotion. It clarifies, it instructs. If you regret something, you assess blame. You understand which part of what happened was your own fault, not someone else's. Later in Strout's book, the main character Lucy suddenly remembers times early in her marriage when she had felt terrible. And I quote Lucy. "It was about my parents and the feeling that I had left them behind. And I would sometimes sit in our small bedroom and weep with a kind of horrendous inner pain. And William would come in and say to me, 'Lucy, talk to me, what is it?' And I would just shake my head until he went away. What a really awful thing I have done to deny my husband any chance of comforting me. Oh, it was an unspeakable, awful thing. And I had not known. And this is the way life is. The many things we do not know until it's too late." End of quote. I don't know about you, but of the two characters in Strout's book, I prefer Lucy over Lois. Lucy has regrets, and regrets makes us human. It makes us accept our vulnerability. I do wish you will be able to acknowledge and learn from your regrets and take responsibility for the faults you will inevitably make and to do better next time. All in all, I wanted to tell you, use your regrets well. And finally, I trust that wherever life's journey will bring you, you will take a piece of our college with you. Thank you.